What's going on, guys? It's MLuck5 and welcome back to another video. Now, in our previous For the Switch video, where I actually talked about Cold War coming out on the Nintendo Switch, I promised you guys a follow-up video. That video basically is going to explain why Call of Duty isn't out on the Nintendo Switch. This is that video. That video talking about Cold War coming out for the Switch actually got about 15,000 views right about now, I think. So thank you guys. Thank you. I love you guys so much. With that being said, check out my other videos. We have a lot of bangers and a lot more bangers coming up. So watch those videos as well. Without any further ado, let's get into the video. In the previous For the Switch video that got about 10,000 views, thank you guys. I love you so much. I promised a follow-up video that would explain why Call of Duty has not made an appearance on the Nintendo Switch. Unlike my other For the Switch videos, I am not going to be asking the question or speculating. I'm going to be answering the question. So let's get started. There are several reasons to why there is no Call of Duty on the Nintendo Switch, but to fully understand, we must backtrack. Call of Duty first appeared on a Nintendo console in 2006. Call of Duty 3 came out close to that of Nintendo's groundbreaking console, known as the Wii. Now, prior to this, Nintendo dominated gaming, and that didn't change following the massive success of the Nintendo Wii. Basically, what I'm saying is that Activision had no reason to not put their game on Nintendo's Wii. In fact, Activision's would have been the ones blowing their backs out to get the game on the Wii, since Call of Duty didn't really kick off until Modern Warfare, which is COD 4. I think it's appropriate to go over the specs of all of the Call of Duties, since they will be important later on. Alright, so highlighted in green are the Call of Duty games that came out on the Wii. In blue, the Wii U. I know the list is staggering. We have a monstrous lineup. Oh my gosh. And in orange, because you know that's COD's native color, we have the Call of Duties that didn't come out on a Nintendo system. At this point, I feel like that's sad. I feel like there's more. What? There's 7, right? Oh my god, it's the same. Bro, what? It's the same. Literally 7 CODs have come out on Nintendo platforms and 7 haven't. Dude, COD 2021 is gonna be the groundbreak. Oh no, I'm tripping. No wait, COD 3 came out. Okay, we're good. But anyways, we have Modern Warfare with 8 gigs, World at War at 8 gigs, Modern Warfare 2 with 10 gigs, Black Ops with 10 gigs, Modern Warfare 3 with 15 gigs, Next Gen, Black Ops 2, 20 gigs, Ghost, 40 gigs, Next Gen, Advanced Warfare, 49 gigs, Black Ops 3, 55, Infinite Warfare 53, World War 2 is 80 gigs, but right now mine is 150 at least. Black Ops 4, 42, right now mine's 128, I shit you not. Modern Warfare 2019, which is right now 200 gigabytes at least, given all the updates. And Cold War, as far as we know, the game didn't come out yet. It's going to be at least 100 gigs. But the only thing that's relevant at this point is knowing the gigabytes from Modern Warfare to Modern Warfare 3. Now, the memory storage for the Nintendo's Wii is, drum roll, please give me a drum roll, 512 megabytes. Yes, 512 megabytes. I know, so much storage, so much. That's crazy. According to the web, the Wii console contains 512 megabytes of internal non-removable flash memory and features an SD card slot for an external storage. So, a game like Call of Duty Modern Warfare has a minimum requirement of 8 gigabytes, and the Wii as a console has less than a gigabyte of initial internal storage. That begs the question, how the hell did Modern Warfare end up on the Wii? Well, a lot of work, let me tell you. Now, the game was ported to the Wii by Treyarch, the Underdog developers who had only made one Call of Duty prior to Modern Warfare. The team was also in the midst of making their own game, but was still determined to put a version of Modern Warfare on the Wii. Hence, Modern Warfare Reflex. Now, if you take a look at Modern Warfare Reflex, you'll see that it's considerably lower in graphical output. Now, many cutbacks had to have been made in order to make this port work, and the fact is that it surprises me that it did. But hey, they made it work from Call of Duty 3 all the way down to Modern Warfare 3. The Wii version of these games were just routine for the developers at this point. It was an expectation until Nintendo moved on with their next generation of console, the Wii U. The massive success and domination that occurred with that of the Nintendo Wii did not occur with the Wii U. Unfortunately, the Wii U flopped. With a total of 13 million sales to this day. That means that in 8 years, the console sold less than 15 million sales units. That's not good for a first-party console developer like Nintendo. Microsoft and Sony finally felt a weight lift off of their shoulders. The tyranny of Nintendo had officially ended, and so did their demand. This flopped worse than the PlayStation Vita, which is the PSP successor. Both the Wii and the PSP did successful, very successful in fact, but their successors did horrible. What happened? Well, that's just for another video. But the thing that you need to take away is that the Wii U flopped. Okay, back on track. Now, the Wii U took a step up from the Wii and put Nintendo into the gigabyte region. It was also Nintendo's first HD console. The Wii U came with an internal, drumroll please, got water on my beard, 8 gigabytes, oh my gosh, bro, so many gigs, and guess what, the deluxe version came with a whopping 32 gigabytes, oh my, so many gigs, the most gigs on a console of this generation. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Now, Black Ops 2 was the Call of Duty that came alongside with the Wii U, both coming out in late 2012. Now, when it came to porting this new Call of Duty on the Wii U, the difficulties weren't there. In fact, it would have been easier for the developers to port this game on the new system. Again, these were the same games coming out on the weaker last generation of consoles that came out along with the Wii, which is the PS3 and the Xbox 360. Getting back to the sales of the consoles though, Nintendo again only sold 13 million copies. Now, I couldn't find the exact number of year one sales, but we know that if a game sold twice as many sales as an entire console, it's not looking good. Black Ops 2 has more than twice as many copies sold as the Wii U, again, so it's clear that those sales did not mainly come from the Wii U, and more likely that it came from the other consoles. Black Ops 2 for the Wii U may have been a solid game and well perceived, but the numbers don't lie. Apparently, there were over 130,000 players online at Black Ops 2 at one point, while on the Wii U, the upper limit that I personally saw was around 2,000. And it's no surprise that Ghosts on the Wii U flopped, as the game itself was viewed negatively. But let's get back to the console side of things. Nintendo was on their own schedule releasing their new console early, and they made one critical mistake. You see, Nintendo was always the family-friendly company. They were more concerned with new and innovative ways to play rather than the computing power of their consoles. In my opinion, they should have focused on both. But anyways, the Wii U was now on par, aka slightly stronger than the last generation of consoles. So it's no surprise that by the time Microsoft and Sony were ready to drop their Xbox One and PlayStation 4s, that Activision would cater their games to that kind of power. When Sledgehammer Games announced Advanced Warfare, they also announced that it wouldn't release for the Wii U. This confused many gamers since the games would still be released on the 360 and PS3. Many people chalked it up to Sledgehammer Games being new to the scene, but it was a shock nonetheless. This was the first major Call of Duty that would not be released on a Nintendo platform, but other people chalked it up to just simply being too strong for the Wii U, since this game of course would be coming out on the new platforms, but this would also contradict the fact that they would be releasing on the 360 and PS3. The fact of the matter is that Activision stopped supporting Nintendo after the flop that was the Wii U due to their games not being properly fulfilled on said console. Why would you have a team of people port a game on a console that isn't doing well, for one? Two, the games that did get ported on the console didn't even do well. So the risk versus reward or return of investment wasn't worth it financially or physically. The team of people that were porting the games onto the Nintendo systems could be using their time more conducively while working on something else. It's sad to hear, but it's the truth. Now, what does all this have to do with COD not coming out for the Switch? Firstly, a lot of people think that it's because of the storage that COD isn't on the Nintendo Switch, and to that I say, sort of. Let's look at the chart that I made and focus on the Call of Duties that came out during the Switch era. World War II being 80 gigs. Of course, mine is 150 now. Black Ops 4, 42 gigs at launch. After all of the additional content is 128 gigs for me. Modern Warfare is officially over 200 gigabytes. In Cold War, we know it's going to be at least 100 gigabytes. All of these games exceed the Switch's initial storage space by at least 4 times. Now, in a previous video, you might have seen me complain about Modern Warfare's update size. Right now, Modern Warfare is 200 gigabytes as a whole. And if you knew anything about updating, then you would know that when you download an update, the console needs to copy the update, then manifest the game with that copy or version of the game. This is simply known as downloading and installing. Now, if you ever had to update a game and you couldn't because there's too much space, but then you promptly checked within your console's internal storage and you indeed had enough space, the problem is the copying process. You need to have at least double the amount of storage as the update size to install it, which is why having enough storage sometimes really isn't enough. In conclusion, expect twice as much storage space to be needed for these new games. Even if we were to compress the game beyond recognition, the game or the inevitable updates might be too much for the Switch to handle. This is exactly my case for World War II and Black Ops 4. World War II was an 80 gigabyte game at launch, which was way too much for the Switch to handle anyways. Sledgehammer made an overhaul to the game near the end of its life cycle, which put World War II, my copy of the game at least, from 80 to 150 gigabytes. Now I don't know if this was all at once, but a Switch owner would have needed 140 gigs to download that overhaul, since the difference between 80 and 150 is 70. Also, remember what we talked about in terms of needing twice as much storage as download size. A Switch owner couldn't even download that with an SD card. With this point, Nintendo is very good at compressing their games. NBA 2K18 on any other console was initially 70 gigs, but it's only 39 gigs on the Switch. This brings the game down by 31 gigs with only slight distasteful graphical notoriety. Doom Eternal is 40 gigs on any other console. On the Switch, however, it's only 14. This is good and bad. Getting back to 2K, you will now need an SD card in order to play that game on the Switch. The Switch version doesn't come with all the features and the graphics aren't as good. These 3 cons for what pro? You can play offline in the car? Why don't I just get the game for PS4? It might seem intense, but this was my exact thought process when Doom Eternal was announced for the Switch. 30 frames per second on a game that's capitalized on graphical power? My Switch Pro controller has some controller delay. You know what? Why don't I just get the game for the PS4? You know what? Fuck it. Better yet, let me get the game on the PS5. It just doesn't make sense to port COD games on the Switch, as the games just wouldn't fit on the console without compressing them beyond recognition. And even then, you most likely couldn't install a simple week 1 update. Now I'm gonna answer why all of the individual Call of Duties aren't on the Switch. So the new games are clearly out of the question for the Nintendo Switch. It's too graphically demanding and the storage/memory side will be near impossible to execute. The new era of consoles and the strive for developers to execute high resolution video games doesn't help either. But what about the older Call of Duty games? Why haven't we seen any of these games on the new Nintendo console? Remember Black Ops 3 for the Xbox 360 and PS3? Remember how shitty the graphics looked and how weird the game plays? Remember how it pulled a BO4 and didn't have a campaign? Well, the game only required 8 gigabytes of storage to download it, while the game for the new generation of consoles required 55. This means that the developers were able to cut the game back by 47 gigabytes. Or the better way to look at it is that the old generation version of the game had to get cut down by 47 gigabytes. The campaign had to be removed and the graphics took a severe hit. All of that had to happen in order for the game to fit on the old gen platform. Now, I'm not saying that the Switch is as weak as the PS3 or the 360. What I am saying is that the gigabytes aren't the only factor to why things might have to be cut down. The game couldn't have a campaign because there's a lot of shit going down in campaign. Lots of special effects and features are used. I'm surprised the PS4 can even handle it. Infinite Warfare had instant gameplay to cutscene action. That's hard enough to achieve even on a new generation platform. But I digress. The point I'm trying to make here is that the Switch is more powerful than the old gen consoles, but not by a far shot. It's an improvement from the Wii U, which was only slightly stronger than the 360. Even when we ask the web the question, the Switch, even in portable mode, is notably more powerful than the PS3, and even tops the more powerful Xbox 360 by some margin. Some margin. Okay, if we ask the web if the PS4 is stronger than the 360, would it say by some margin? No, in fact I already did that, and it says the PS4 is a new console. The 360 is nearly a decade old, so comparing the two is pretty difficult. Pointless. I thought it said pointless instead of difficult. I thought that's what it tried to say. I'm sorry. I'm exaggerating the fact that the Switch is stronger than the old generations of consoles, but not by a long shot. Therefore, putting games like Advanced Warfare, Black Ops 3, Infinite Warfare, World War II, or Black Ops 4 would bring up similar problems as putting it on the 360. Not to the same extent, but similar. The newer games that run off of the new engine so far, that includes Modern Warfare and Cold War, forget it. And you might even think, so what? A little graphic downgrade and a missing game mode, so what? If I were Nintendo and my console were competing with two others, I would not want half a game on my console. Even as a player, I wouldn't want half a Call of Duty on the Switch. I want the full damn thing, you know? Especially if the other consoles have the full game. And as for the really old Call of Duties that showed up on previous Nintendo platforms, why put them on the Switch? Okay, you might make the argument that Nintendo clearly doesn't care about the Xbox or the PS4. It doesn't care about graphical power, but if that were true, if that were really true, why isn't Call of Duty on the Switch? And as for the really old Call of Duties that showed up on previous Nintendo platforms, why even put them on the Switch? Developers are always looking forward with their new projects. Treyarch is working on Cold War coming out for both the PS4 and PS5, as well as the Xbox One and the Series X. Why waste their time trying to put a new World at War or Black Ops on the Switch when they don't even support those games anymore? As for Infinity Ward, I mean, they have to adjust to the new 2-year cycle now that Sledgehammer got fired for making one of the worst Call of Duties to date. But I mean, if Treyarch didn't get fired for making Black Ops 4 and, oh my gosh, Infinity Ward made Infinite Warfare, Ghosts, and Modern Warfare all within a 9-year span, and they didn't get fired? Give Sledgehammer a break, please. As I was saying, they have to adjust to this new 2-year life cycle now that Sledgehammer's gone. Why waste their time putting Modern Warfare and Modern Warfare 2 on the Switch when they're wrapping up their support for Modern Warfare 2019 and getting started on the new Call of Duty that has to come out next year for 2 brand new consoles? In conclusion, Nintendo lost their support with Call of Duty when they released the underpowered, unsuccessful Wii U. This setback forced Nintendo to pick up where they left off with the Wii U. Thus, the Nintendo Switch was born. The Switch is a solid console and is doing pretty damn good. It recently beat the Xbox One in terms of lifetime sales. However, the Switch is still relatively underpowered, leaving every major third-party game with graphical cutbacks or excluded game aspects. It makes no sense to put an old Call of Duty on the Switch when they all have been on previous Nintendo platforms. And 2, when the developer no longer supports said games. Is there anything we can look forward to in the future, at least? Well, we're gonna answer that. What will Nintendo have to do in order to gain the support of Call of Duty? In my opinion, I wouldn't stress it at all. Call of Duty multiplayers have gone down the toilet in terms of quality, and I doubt COD 2021 will be even better. But the new Call of Duty games have one thing in common that would do extremely well on the Switch, and that is Warzone. Warzone is a free-to-play, cross-platform, battle royale shooter. Those 4 aspects alone are a recipe for success. Black Ops 2 Wii U was a solid game and was very well perceived, but that didn't stop it from low sales, as stated earlier. The same logic can be applied to the fact that I really don't like Warzone. I personally find first-person battle royales to be just not very fun. But that doesn't deter the fact that it's the most relevant thing Call of Duty has done in years. Warzone is somewhat groundbreaking, earning more attention than Fortnite at times. But no matter the game mode, if Nintendo wants something Call of Duty on their system, they will need to build a more powerful one. The Nintendo Switch brought Nintendo out of the pit that the Wii U dug them in. What will they do now that they're above ground level? So that was the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you agree with down in the comment section down below. Also, watch my other videos, please. I know these videos get so many views. They skyrocket in views. But I would really, really appreciate it if you guys looked at some other banger content. And actually, you're going to see it on the end screen. So, you know, you don't have to go scrolling through my 500 some odd videos. You know what I'm saying? I actually have like 300 videos, but that's besides the point. Love you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching, and peace out.